South Africans remain shell-shocked at the one-run bungle that's brought their World Cup campaign to a disastrous end.
During the 2003 Cricket World Cup, the South African cricket team mistakenly thought that they had beaten the Rain and Sri Lanka, only to realise that they had miscalculated Duckworth Lewis by 1 run.
Unbeknownst to Boucher, a run off this ball would have won the match. Then rain.
And their Cricket World Cup dreams washed away in embarrassment and disbelief.
Yeah, it's got to rank up there as possibly the most disappointing thing. The guys are gutted in the change room and very disappointed, you know.
You know, you do feel responsible more so when you're captain than just a normal player. You do feel like you've let the nation down and the team down.
A mistake that we certainly have learned from.
The 2003 Cricket World Cup was hosted in South Africa, and overall it was a very successful tournament. South Africans were very hopeful to be the first hosting nation to win the cricket tournament on home soil, especially after a traumatic history of heartbreaking Cricket World Cup exits.
2 ties in the last 2 World Cups, and out of both of them. It's hard to describe, you know.
In 1999, a tied semi-final against Australia denied South Africa a final berth. In 1992, a rain-affected semi meant they required an impossible 22 runs off 1 delivery.
However, South Africa struggled from the very first opening match. They lost against the West Indies and New Zealand and had to win their final group match against Sri Lanka to qualify for the Super 6 round and stay in the World Cup. Sri Lanka batted first and, thanks only to Atapatu and De Silva, managed to reach 268 after their 50 overs. Graeme Smith and Herschel Gibbs got South Africa off to a flyer, but a couple of quick wickets brought the tempo back down during the middle overs. Mark Boucher and captain Shaun Pollock kept the innings together during a very tense moment in the match, which also gave us what is still considered today probably one of the best and most memorable cricket sledges in World Cup cricket history by Kumar Sangakkara.
It's lots of pressure here for the skippy, eh? Gonna let his whole country down now if he fails. Lots of expectations, fellas. Come on. Oh man, the weight of all these expectations, fellas. The weight of the country, chaps. 42 million supporters right here, depending on Sean.
And just as it became clear that this run chase was going down to the wire, it started to rain. The rain wasn't hard enough yet for the umpires to stop play, but it remained consistent without any sign of stopping. And it became clear that it was only going to get worse very, very soon. Shaun Pollock was freakishly run out in a crucial moment of the innings. And as he was walking off the field, the rain started to fall harder and harder.
But the rain is getting heavier. Much heavier. I suppose safety of the players comes into the consideration as well.
Enter Duckworth Lewis. The Duckworth-Lewis calculation was introduced in the 1999 Cricket World Cup to fairly calculate the winner if a cricket match is interrupted by rain or any other weather conditions. After the completion of the first innings, a ball-by-ball calculation is printed out and given to each team to know exactly what the score needs to be at any stage of the match to determine the winner. With South Africa on 223 for 6, needing another 46 runs or 32 deliveries, the heavens opened up and it was clear that the umpires were considering stopping play. The message was sent to batters Boucher and Klusener that, according to the Duckworth-Lewis calculation, South Africa needed 229 after 45 overs to win the match if rain stopped play. That basically meant that South Africa had to score 6 runs in the next 2 deliveries before the umpires most probably will stop the match and take the players off. And Mark Boucher, the very next ball, did exactly that in spectacular fashion, with the rain pouring down.
Oh, he's hit it! He's hit it! Oh, he's hit it! It's gone all the way! What a shot! Rain or no rain, this match is not over yet.
He pumped his fist in celebration, believing that he just put South Africa in a winning position. But meanwhile, upstairs in the players' dressing room, panic ensued, because they realized that they sent out the wrong message.
Yeah, Boucher had been given a message of 229. So he was pretty happy once he had got that.
The Duckworth-Lewis calculation shows you the par score that you have to achieve to tie with your opponents. And you always have to remember to add one more run for a victory.
Heartache again for South Africa. Yeah, they sent out a note. They didn't realize you need to do par +1.
I think every time there's rain about now, the guys always say, "Oh, remember, it's +1."
Just forgot to add one.
Yeah, and
Miscalculated the Duckworth Lewis by 1 run and were knocked out of the tournament.
On the field, the batters were under the impression that they were in a winning position. And with the rain pouring down, the umpires will certainly stop the match at any second now. South Africa desperately tried to send the 12-man Nicky Boyer onto the field to inform Boucher about the mistake.
Nicky Boyer was actually on the way onto the field to say, well, we needed another run. I think one of the umpires said, look, you can't come onto the field.
But the umpires, rightfully so, chased him off the field and told him to come back after the over.
He's sending the fieldsmen off the ground. They're not allowed on. I think they were going out to the batsman. There was someone going out with a message out there. Umpire Buckner said, "Get off the ground."
The very next ball, thinking that South Africa had won, Mark Boucher simply defended the delivery and made no effort to score a run, leaving the scores tied.
So if they get one more run here, they're probably aware of it. There's one ball to go in the over. One more run and they can come off the ground if they do, and they get through. No run. That'll end up being a tie. That's not good enough.
And before the next over could even start, the umpires finally decided that enough was enough and they stopped play.
The rain is pouring down.
What's going to happen here? Will we get back on? That's the big question. It's a worry.
Boucher too thought 229 was enough. He walked from the field. Sean Pollock, the captain, knew the true story.
The reality of the situation hit the two batsmen as they reached the players' dressing room, with the players and the coach in panic mode after realizing their mistake. And they realized that if the rain doesn't stop in the next 40 minutes for play to continue, their World Cup is over. But the rain kept coming down and down as the minutes finally ticked away, with the South African team watching with their heads in their hands. And once again, for the third time, South Africa was eliminated from a Cricket World Cup in dramatic, heartbreaking fashion because of a rain calculation and a tied match. The blame and excuses for this embarrassing mistake was thrown around between Captain Sean Pollock and Coach Eric Simons.
Just this whole Duckworth-Lewis scenario, were you guys aware of what was required at the end of that over? Was there any confusion there? Or?
Yeah, Boucher had been given a message of 229, so you can look at all the ifs and buts of it, but at the end of the day it doesn't really help much.
With little sympathy from other cricketers and even Frank Duckworth himself.
I've got over Duckworth and Lewis. They're not on my Christmas list yet, but I've forgiven them.
Sri Lanka captain Sana Jayasuriya also said that he was well aware of the situation because he had the same sheet in his own pocket on the field. And he realized that South Africa had made a terrible mistake when Boucher simply defended the final ball for no runs. Before this, other countries had already started displaying the Duckworth-Lewis par scores on the scoreboards for the players and the fans to clearly see it, but not South Africa. And after this incident, all professional cricket matches now display it. But if you're the team chasing, always remember that you're looking at the par score and you still have to add one run for a victory. What other embarrassing cricket mistakes do you remember? And subscribe for more cricket content just like this.